Bum, 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 bum.
Harder Brunch presents Peep Show, Wednesday the 27th at the White Rabbit Cabaret.
We got stand-up with Brent Hume, baby.
Live podcast from Harder Brunch.
And we got some burlesque.
We got a live peep eating contest.
And we got surprises and prizes.
Tickets are available at eventbrite.com.
I'm eating brunch with my people though. The homie Dyke just cooked up a feast and we bout to eat it, bro. Fucked around and has to mix the lobster with the poutine. Daddy is rolling blow dream. Them boys got down a routine. It's Naptown culture. Cooking 7 courses. Had to pass the torch and now I'm grabbing second portion. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a smoke. It's Harder Brunch on the way and get prepared for the jokes. Whoa.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels. With me, as always, my co-host, Thaddaeus Mckee.
Slappy Pappy Wang Wang.
On the ones and twos, the wheels of steel, the sauce, boss of Indianapolis, and the last broke dragon. Give it up for Zach Roan, everybody.
Squeaky, squonky, wee wee.
I will not podcast until I get a train whistle. Bring this podcast to a screeching halt. And then two very special comedians in studio, Will Abeles and Brandon Jerrell.
I like how you said it with a question mark.
It's always with a question mark.
I'm Will Abeles.
I always lose confidence in the last second. I was like, I'm gonna. But that's why I was like, I hate hosting.
Oh,
I hate hosting so much.
And even when it's like a major headliner that you know them, right? I was hosting for Alonzo Bowden in Wilmington, and we're doing 5 shows. And every time, like, the level of anxiety just saying his name, like, even there, I was like, I don't even know if I said it right.
Yeah.
But it stressed me out so much. But then when it was done, I was so proud of myself. I was like, you nailed it. Good job. You finally did it.
I'll make up a wrong thing that I could possibly say, and then I'll just fixate on not saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did I think of that in the first place? Yeah. Like, I'll be like, Will Abeles, and then I'll be like, don't say Will Disabled, you know? And then right before I say it, I come really close to saying the right way. Why would you even make that as an option? Like, it's so bad.
Your brain shows you how to fail.
You had a really good one opening for Godfrey.
Oh, yeah. I said, this guy... I couldn't remember his name.
Y'all know him, you love him, you're here for him.
He's only got one name, and I don't remember it.
Madonna.
It was just one name. You got one name to remember. And it was very difficult. Like, we had a good show the first one, and it was the second one. I had some drinks. I'm like, hey, I'm having fun. And I'm like, all right, you guys know him.
Yeah.
Come on, get ready. And there's only like 3 times you can pump up the crowd. And then after the 4th one, they're like, hey, like we gave you it all. And they were. Like, they were giving it for the second one. Like, ah! I was like, all right, you guys, come on out here. You remember your name. Godfrey. And like, I saw him like roll his eyes so hard. And I was like, he hates me now.
Yeah.
I ruined it.
It's like collectively everyone there was like, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Because you can see people getting confused. Like, what's happening? Like, I lost my voice screaming.
It's like you have like a 15-minute intro for him, and he's just like, you can't remember. And finally someone from the back's like, Godfrey! It's Godfrey!
Yeah, because I definitely did say, you guys know him, get him out here! It was not good.
Oh, that's so good.
People don't like saying my name all the time, and sometimes it's like, I can tell, like, they saw the name and they're like, that can't be right. And then they're like, hey, what's this guy's real name? And then they wait and no one says anything, and then they're like, give it up for this Dyke. I don't know. Like I've been brought up to the stage that way. Someone said, give it up for this Dyke.
That's not nice.
I think the funniest thing, so my kid will tell stories and you'll be in the story and we'll be just in mixed company or whatever. And then, it's just like, and then Dyke said this, that, and the other, and nobody will call it out. Everybody looks, but nobody asks the question. And I never fill it in. I never be like, oh, that's my friend's name. Just leave it.
This is what we call them.
Yeah. I think they find a charm in the innocence, right?
Oh my gosh. So you guys are on tour right now? You've been touring.
Yeah, we're doing like weekend runs.
Well, okay.
It's like one of those things where you're like, I don't know if I want to call this a tour, but like,
well, it's hard for comedy because there's not that much going on during the week.
Right. So like, because I've tried to do the like Sunday to Saturday 3-week tour, and then you hit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you spend all the money that you barely made on the weekend anyway. And so now I'm trying to just like only do weekend runs and keep it somewhat close to Nashville if I can, so it's not like, bankrupting me, which somehow it still is.
Yeah. Comedy, baby.
Yeah.
You guys were just part of a breaking. Are you allowed to talk about the breaking the world record?
Oh, of course. I think so. I don't. Yeah. So we started out Wednesday, and we were at Bricky's in Miamisburg, Ohio, and they were trying to break. They did break the Guinness World Record for longest comedy show, and we each had to do 3 15-minute spots, and one of us had a great time. And the other one's Brandon.
I feel like that's been the theme for you for a few shows.
Yeah, it's been going a little bit rough this weekend. So as the record's being set, I think I also set my own record of longest bomb, or the longest collective bomb. But yeah, I've had a lot of things happen during my sets. People falling and people being very concerned about them because it was like not a graceful fall. And then as the Guinness book representative is there, you just have to keep on going,
because you could ruin the whole thing for them if you would have stopped.
Exactly. Someone did. They were bombing and they're like, all right, I'm done, and they were gonna get off, and everybody was like, oh no, this is about to ruin everything. And he's like, no, I'm kidding. And then that was the biggest laugh that he got.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, you had to have at least 10 people in the audience, and you had to do 15 minutes. And so,
how long of pauses can you do?
I think that's all right. Like, yeah, you could sit.
How long is the break in between each show?
There is no break.
Yeah, no break. It's
so one comic 15 minutes, another comic 15 minutes, another. Wow.
Yeah. There had to be 10 people, so they're signed up in this as well.
Yeah. So and they would try to get comics to come early because the audience could be some comics. And then you would get some of the folks that are in Miamisburg and live there, and you could kind of clearly see who those people are.
Like, what are we doing again?
Well, they're the drunk ones that are heckling, and
What's the funniest part to me out of that is that by Guinness's metric, you need at least 10 people for a comedy show to happen. I've done a lot of non-comedy shows in my head. I'm just finding out.
What I thought was interesting is if they're going to have to watch this back. So if they have to watch this back to verify the 80 hours, you got to think that's someone's job. So they're probably only working 8 hours a day. Are they? So for 2 full 40-hour work weeks, they're having to listen back.
I'm phoning
to
it
these.
in.
To these shows. But that's what I started thinking. Do they start listening to it while they're driving? Like it's like a podcast or something like that. And then you're just having to listen to some really bad comedies. So there was a lot of great people as well. But just 80 hours of having to listen to that back.
Who was the top dame in there?
There was a couple. But
Rand came through.
Rand Barnacle?
Yeah. There was a few people.
Did you say Barnacle?
I just thought it was like
that
guy.
He lives in a pineapple under the sea. Rand Barnacle.
Well, I also don't know how to say his name properly. So when you said it, I was like, that could probably be right.
What's the shortest comedy set for the Guinness World Record?
That's my time, folks.
That's a good question.
Knock knock, who's there? Not me. Bye.
It just never starts. I don't know. I don't think it could be the shortest.
A second.
Yeah.
Man, I've realized. I mean, if you would ask me 10 years ago, I would have said I'm one of the biggest stand-up comedy fans, and I feel like we just see so much comedy in general, a lot of bad comedy. I don't really realize the further you go in comedy, the longer you're in comedy, you have to seen a lot of bad comedy. Just a lot. It's like even like a festival. I get comedied out at a festival. I'm just like. I mean, and then like I'll see people go from like 90 minutes in here and then go directly into it, and I'm like, no, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like I'm done. Like at 90 minutes, like I need a break before I see. And I think it's because we also know how the sausage is made. I mean, I watched 2 specials to completion last year, and I started a lot of people's specials, and nothing against the comedians, but it's just like, it's just hard to stay engaged. If I'm hosting or, you know, even featuring for someone even big, like I try to watch their first whole set, and then like I'll see people in there that'll watch 5 shows. I'm like, I can't watch.
Well, those are the hard networkers, right? Like
5 back-to-back shows.
I think it's flattering though. Like if you're headlining and then someone's staying and watch every single one of your show, and especially if you're a comic that mixes it up, that's pretty cool. And then like, oh, I'm going to talk to you more afterwards because you're interested in what I'm doing.
Well, and some people like I mentioned Alonzo earlier, like when we were before, but like when I was hosting for Alonzo Bowden, like I watched every show he did because I was like, this guy's a legend, you know, and I wanted to learn from him and everything. But yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Like, we get a little burned out, and you're like, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
But there's
But
people,
it's actually. Do you think? Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was gonna say like there are some people though that like they are that good that you're like, I want to see what happens.
That's
next.
what I'm saying. Like if Dave Chappelle was doing 5, I want to be like, I'm just gonna watch one and go out. I'm watching every single one.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like it's a thing of how good they are too.
Yeah,
be
But
honest.
also being live rather than, you know, being on Netflix or something where you can have your phone and then you just kind of get distracted. But yeah, just watching them live. And then if you have a weekend with someone like Matthew Broussard, to see 3 different 30-minute sets that he was doing, and then also seeing the same one again, but seeing what he's done differently. You're like, oh, all right, that's another thing to
pick up. Yeah,
I feel like I'm the guy that like in the middle of like a concert, I'm like looking at my watch, like, even if I'm having a good time.
I hate concerts. It's
People start hitting like the encore, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
And I don't know if that's because of like comedy that like I don't love going to concerts, and
I used to.
And how do you feel about the encore?
Depends who it is.
I feel
You're
like all
like-
they're mandatory now.
Yeah.
So there's bands that already know like they're gonna go off the stage and then they're gonna come back on.
Yep.
And it's like
That's the thing.
It's a whole song and dance, right? You could
take it
just
away
say
from
this is our play set. We're gonna do it to the end, but no, I feel like it's a broken promise.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to go home,
Well-
and then they come dancing back out on stage. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna do it. And then if they do that shit a second time, fuck
them.
that.
Yeah.
No.
Fuck double encores.
Well,
all the
if
way.
they're good enough, I saw just recently like
Nobody's
when they
good
did
enough
not
for a
clap.
double encore. Nobody in the world ever. No.
Paul McCartney.
Nope. Nope. He struts out there that second time with that dumb look on his face. Absolutely not. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah. Here's the thing. I saw one where like no one really clapped. It was like, hey, like they walked out like, thank you guys, thank you.
was like,
And you could tell on their face they wanted to come back out. And he's like, and then like, and I was like, do you want to hear one more? And everyone's like, really tired. It's like.
and then no one said anything. They go, oh yeah, oh all right.
And then he's like, do you guys mind if we do one more? And it still was a little quiet. Like, well, we're gonna do one more.
That's so sad.
2 more.
I'm always leaving early just so I could beat the traffic.
Yeah.
And it's like I've left like headlining sets where it's like he's doing great, but also I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've had my fill.
I love that idea. I love the idea of when they say start messing around, I got like 20 minutes to get to the car and get out.
Yeah.
But there's always people that you're with that are jacked.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
so excited to whatever, hear the surprise song.
No, I forced the encore one time on stage.
Oh, I would be so pissed with you.
It was a comedy set, and I was headlining, and then and I ended up doing
What do
like
you mean you forced it? Like you were like, I'm not leaving until you ask me to do another show.
no, it was a mental thing. It was like a trick. I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna get out of here. I started walking, and I said one more joke.
No, that's just an encore, you asshole.
You said that or they said that?
I might have led the first one more joke, and then they kept doing it. I'm like, oh, you guys want me to?
I actually did see. I've seen 2 comedy encores in my earlier days. The first one was in college. I saw Aziz at the Wilbur Theater in Boston, and he came out and did an encore. And honestly, the set sucked. Like I remember like watching. I remember watching them because he was like getting so. He was more into acting at that point. So he was like doing comedy, but he was more like Aziz the celebrity as opposed to Aziz the comic. And I remember like watching the whole hour, and I was like, I mean, like, I'm not saying I didn't laugh, like, but I was like, this is not what I was expecting. But then he came out and did an encore, and it was the funniest part of the whole thing, because it was just him being more, like, someone was like, he was like, what do you want to hear about? And someone was like, what's Kanye up to? Because remember him and Kanye used to have that funny relationship?
Yeah.
And he was like, Kanye, I still remember, he was like, oh, Kanye, man, he's like trying to do this thing called the Rosewood movement. And he was like, yeah, Aziz, all my crew has to wear suits. And he was like, Kanye, that's not he's like, Kanye, that's not a Rosewood movement. He's like, that's business casual or something like that. And I was like, oh, this is so good. Like when he was making it up, it was great. And then I saw Gary Goldman do an encore, and he sort of similar, he came out and he was like, all right, I'll take requests. And they were like, the grapefruit joke. And so he like did old bits, cool. And like everyone was, so that was pretty cool too.
I see, that makes sense even.
Well, it wasn't necessarily like an encore, but it was Hannibal when it was like a 2-hour show. The first hour is stand up. And we all thought it was going to be his music set because no one's sitting. And it was somewhere in Asheville. You just you pack it in. So you watch an hour, and it was so hilarious. And he has these 2 Chainz bits where he plays his music, and it it almost doubles as like another like punchline or something. But you watch an hour of his comedy or of his stand up while you're standing up.
Yeah.
And then he did another hour of his music after that.
Oh wow.
And it was such a long show, and then I was going to be able to get to meet him after. I'm like, no, I'm going to leave that man alone. Like, he just had to do 2 hours of this shit.
Yeah, I got tickets. Chappelle had that documentary that he released, and he was releasing it in our Gainbridge, our arena, like basketball arena. And I was like, tickets were like $100, and I was like, man, I don't know if this was a good idea. It was like $100 is a lot for a ticket, and seeing it in a theater, and then or seeing it in an arena, and then we went there, and it was like. He had Sam J open, and Jeff Ross brought people up and was roasting people on stage, and I was like, okay, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth here.
Yeah.
And then they showed the whole documentary in its entirety, and then he came out and didn't really do material, but kind of talked for about 20 minutes, and I was like, oh man, this was great. I got my money's worth.
Yeah.
And then he was like, now I'm gonna bring out Redman and Method Man, and I was like, oh, I love Redman and Method Man. I was like, oh, they're gonna do a mashup of 2 of their hits or something. No, they played an hour-long concert. This whole thing was 4 hours long. By the end, I was just like, I'll give more money to leave.
I went to this concert at Bridgestone in Nashville, and there was Nelly, the Yin Yang Twins, Fat Joe, Lloyd. But what's funny is the Yin Yang Twins I was listening to as a kid, and they came out. Their dreads are all gray now, and they're all old now, and they had a hype man that was doing all of the work, and they only played 3-minute sets. Would go back, and then then Fat Joe would come out and do lean back, but then it was most of their hype men that are doing most of the work, and they're only doing a few minutes, and I was like, all right, damn, I paid way too much. It was one of those just money grabs. I felt like
hip hop is a young man's game. I'm sorry, it really you could be a 90-year-old rocker, and you could just be playing for an hour, and everyone's into it. But there's nothing sadder than a octogenarian rapper, to come out
It was so funny to see the Yin Yang Twins come out, and then I was like, oh shit, their dreads are all gray. I forgot that they aged. I was oh damn, they're old as fuck.
Yeah, they're whispering in your ear because they're out of breath.
I went to a rap concert. I got to see Kendrick Lamar, and they were doing the TDE tour, so they had Absol going, and just everybody you could think of, and who's the guy that sings that part? Schoolboy Q.
Yeah.
I was getting so excited, and I hit a blunt behind me, and you should never do that at a concert. You should, if you're gonna smoke weed or do anything like that, bring your own drugs or whatever. Oh, no. But I hit this one behind me, and it sent me I've never been this high before. I was soaring, oh, this was a bad idea. I'm getting paranoid everywhere. Am I in hell right now? Everybody's twerking everywhere. And then Schoolboy Q gets on, and it's this. So you've been to a concert. There's an energy rush where it feels like you're on a roller coaster, right. And everybody's just cheering. I'm like, yeah. I'm screaming yeah, Kendrick Lamar. And I got so high, I thought that was Kendrick Lamar. Because I knew
so I got racist.
I knew all Schoolboy Q's songs, and I wasn't thinking I was going to see him there at the concert. And I'm like singing along like it's Kendrick, and like, wait, this is Schoolboy Q. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to do 2 more songs. I'm going to bring Kendrick out. I just remember looking around so embarrassed.
Will gets them confused as well.
I was like, wait a second. Like Kendrick Lamar's not on me. I just wasted all my energy on Schoolboy Q.
So you're like winded by the time Kendrick gets out there?
Yeah, I was winded. I was like, oh, I don't know if I screamed. Like, I lost my voice to Schoolboy.
I'm not a big sports guy, and I've been working all these like all-star events, and so I assume if I see someone that's like 6'5", 7 feet that they're somebody, right?
Yeah.
But like I don't know, so like I'm working with this like white dude, and every time a tall black person comes in, I'm like, who's that? And he's like, I don't know, and I don't want to guess wrong.
And honestly, I don't know the NBA anymore, so I just don't know players. You know, like unless it's like a very, very famous player like LeBron, like any player, I'd just be like, I have no fucking idea who this is.
I'm really trying to make my new top 5 white list of NBA because everybody has their top 5.
Yeah,
I'm preparing like this like little bit where I just name all like these white players.
You just rattle off 5 white players.
You didn't name Kobe. You didn't name LeBron or Jordan. I'm like, no, dude. Tony Kukoc. I think he's on
like Tony Kukoc,
Mount
Larry
Rushmore.
Bird.
That Russian on the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
Your basketball Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. But it's all white people.
They're all
like,
white.
There has to be. Who's the best white player in the league? There has to be like
Larry Bird.
No, current white
Oh,
player.
I was literally just looking this up.
Curry. Is this Stephen Curry?
I don't.
half of them.
Wait, he's not right.
We got Kevin Love.
Yeah, on
Sabonis,
ranker.com.
for sure.
Probably Luka.
Oh, Joker. Oh, yeah, Luka.
Yeah, Jockett.
Yeah, Luka.
You could say any name. I don't know.
Who's the
I
guy
don't know
that used
any
to
of these
shoot
people.
threes on the Orlando Magic?
Tyler Hero.
I mean, they have statistics, right? Like you could actually get like who is the actual
Well, I
best.
forget who it was, but someone recently just did like the craziest numbers since like Kobe, and like broke whatever record Kobe set.
And he was
for,
white.
Yeah, he was a white guy, and I think it was.
There's someone on the LA that's really good that plays with LeBron. I can't think of his name, but like he's definitely white, and like this boy is moving up and down the court, dunking, and just like that's actually exciting.
The white guy dunk. You're just
That's got
Yeah,
to
it's fun. Yeah.
It's like, but it's like throws you off. You know, it's like a baby with
It's
two
like
heads.
like watching white guys on the NBA is like watching the underdog story. Like you shouldn't be there. Like, you know
So
what I mean?
we need
JJ
like we need a
Redick is-
feel good NBA movie, with just like all white guys, right? And make it one of those.
Yeah. White guy
You
that's
like
not
Hoosiers.
like 7 foot tall.
in a world where black
all
people.
all
JJ
short
Redick
white
shooting
guys.
threes.
Yeah, the shortest white guy in the NBA. Let's look that up. Who's the shortest white guy in the NBA? He's living the dream.
Watch my picture just pop up, and I'm like, surprise!
It's like he sold his soul to the devil or something. There was something that's going on.
There has to be something about being the best white player. Like that has to feel good. Like I'm the best white guy in the NBA.
Yeah, but isn't that like that's where you're like borderline like going into being like the Aryan race thing. You're like I'm the supreme white man. And you're like, oh well, let's not say that to a microphone, but
Well, no, you're very well aware that there's a lot of black guys better than you, but like I'm the best white one.
yeah, as long as he's still acknowledging it, but when he's not, he's like, no, I am superior.
I mean,
You're like, oh,
out
God.
of them, I'm superior, not you guys.
I'm looking at Austin Reeves right now. Austin Reeves, that's the guy that I've been watching his highlights, and it's been fun. Cause like you get tired of watching the same old highlights, same old skin tone.
Just dunking and posterizing.
What skin tone would you like to see play basketball?
I've just been trying to mix it up.
Yeah, I like to see
Jeremy
a Native
Lamb.
American in there.
Oh,
Like to see an indigenous dunkaroo.
Indigenous? Is that what you said?
An
I
indigenous.
don't know about that. I like because my mind went really bad. Like I went back to 3rd grade and I was like, why were they still wearing the headdress? Like,
It's a chief.
wait,
dunking.
did you say Indian? Or did you say Native American?
No, what did you say?
Not again.
What did you say?
Never again.
I heard Native American.
You heard Native American?
Yeah, I gotta keep an ear out for this stuff.
Because we'll get a pass. Like we like, oh, whoops, we
No, they're looking for me.
Yeah.
to get canceled.
yeah, man. With white people, like he's a good-looking white guy. You know, he could lift more, but like still, he's
Yeah, I don't think you can say headdress, can you? I'm already so in the black. It's fine.
If I'm talking like a party in the 1920s and a lady walks in with like a nice like beaded like one of those flapper dresses, then I can say headdress.
yeah.
But if I'm wearing a cowboy hat,
If I'm wearing maybe not.
I start to feel bad for white people because you're like, I don't know what I could say
Preach.
anymore.
you
That's what I'm saying. I want to be a spokesman for white people. No, you get to this point where you're like, I don't know what I could say anymore. And it's like, there was a point where there were some white people that were afraid to say Mexican. And like, you're
I don't
supposed to say that.
Yeah.
Like, not you, because you're woke and you're doing the right things.
But I say Puerto Rican on stage, and some people will tense up. I'm like, I'm from Florida. I'm allowed to say Puerto Rican.
That's
Like-
crazy. But that's what I'm saying. People tense up if you say any race, you know?
Yeah.
And
especially if you just name races, that makes them uncomfortable as hell.
That's how I open my show. I
You just
start
list
going,
a
"You're
bunch of
black,
them."
that's hilarious.
So
You never played Black Jew before?
Black. Is that the name of the episode?
I want it to be.
Even Zach's like, even Zach.
Black Jew and a couple of whites.
This one is a known troll. Won't put that. Black Jew.
That's a weird name of Duck Duck Goose right there.
Because it could be both. You know what I mean?
but there's someone out there listening to that being like, yeah, I play it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we did at summer camp.
Yeah. Get up and chase the host around.
What were the racist games that we played as kids?
Oh,
Cowboys and Native Americans?
No, like
No,
there
we
was
didn't call
definitely
it that.
a game called N-word knocking.
No!
Yeah.
What the
We
fuck?
just knocked out a black person?
I'm a look.
I don't like that.
First pass out loses.
Where'd you grow
I
up?
thought that was Ding Dong Ditch. But
So
But you knew what that
Well, you
meant.
can't call black
Yeah.
people ding
But-
dongs.
but hold on.
And you're throwing a dick.
You knew exactly the game somehow. We called it Ding Dong Ditch.
Well, that's Florida for you.
Oh, Florida doesn't call it Ding Dong Ditch. They're still. Well, Casey, you don't have to put it up there on the big screen for us. Like, oh my God. We all knew what the word was.
Should I not?
What is
Should
it?
I not?
It's in the episode. It's on the screen.
Oh no! What are you doing?
You can't put that on our screen.
You made us.
though.
You made.
I can't. I actually didn't know it was equivalent to Ding Dong Ditch. I was just trying to make a joke.
Oh no, that's exactly. That's exactly.
I was
the
gonna
game.
try to make a joke and say it was just Ding Dong Ditch of a black guy's
Yeah,
house.
but
And I didn't know it was actually.
But they turn into ding dong.
Yeah.
I don't like that. When you see the
What?
reverse etymology of words.
I don't know if that's what that means. I think it just was what? I don't think that means
No,
that
Ding
they.
Dong because of the doorbell. Ding
Yeah.
Dong.
It's
They
just
just
that-
they
and then
it's just
rebranded
like
it.
there was okay. You
All right,
son of a
let's
bitch.
just deconstruct the whole joke. The magic is gone.
I love you guys were like talking about like me getting canceled, and you were like, oh, I feel bad for white people. Anyway, we're doing this shit. And like that screenshot, because there's gonna be no context. It's just like
That's gonna be the background.
Brandon had his apology 3 seconds into it. You did the apology in the podcast. Hold on. Brandon was already apologizing. We're good.
Will, tag that joke. What do you got?
Hey, say something funny.
I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to improv right now, guys. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna yes and that one.
Yeah, we promise not to put that in the background, like when we open up the show. This is your face, and this says.
The title is Black
I
Dude.
guarantee
It's just
we-
like, oh god.
I guarantee we'd get the most clicks ever on that clip, though.
Oh, I know.
We need this. Can you be our white savior?
My career would just skyrocket. Then I'm like, oh well, now I'm in alt-right rooms now. This is great.
Controversial comedian, Will Abeles.
They were asking me what song I was at the Orpheum Theater in Illinois, Galesburg. Shout out, beautiful place, beautiful theater. Houdini performed
Oh,
there.
that one, yeah.
But I was there and they were asking for a song, and like me and Stuart Huff were like trying to figure out like what's the worst song that you could come up to.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I got you beat. He said some song that like might have had the word bitch in it, and I was like, I think I have you beat. And he's like, what song is it? I said, a woodpile, which is a song. That was professional.
It's yours.
Okay, that's embarrassing.
Well, that was perfect.
That's what I call a ding dong ditch.
Up next, this guy.
When you send an airplane, you can still get calls, I guess, apparently with Wi-Fi. Anyways, but yeah, it's a woodpile. It's go listen to it, go check it out. And it's actually quite catchy, unfortunately, but a bad
back
song.
to making Will's ears burn. Let's go.
Yeah. Enough of that.
No, everything. So I'm a few years older than you guys. So like everything when I was growing up was offensive. Like we played a game called Smear the Queer. Pretty regularly.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Like even the lighter ones were like Chinese fire drill. What does that mean? That doesn't sound like it was like everyone just runs around the car. We would say Indian style. Like it was. My whole childhood should be canceled.
That's all those were in my childhood as well. And then you look back and you're just like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, we didn't know.
And then you hear it here and you go, I definitely said that as a 6-year-old.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. I had a whole. I had a half bit that I was working on a long time ago where I wanted to like list, because I started like coming up with a list and I was like, man, these were really bad. And then, but I was like, I remember white kids would ask me to come play, N-word knocking, and I was just like, and like the whole joke was
wait, they would just say it to you?
Oh yeah. Oh
my god.
Yeah, it was the 90s were wild, man. Like the suburbs. Yeah, it was. I mean, people would say the N-word to me like
a rough cul-de-sac. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like butter. People. It was not even a. Should I say this? It was like. I remember one of my best friend's dad said it to me when I was helping him move furniture. Like I was doing him a favor, and like we were just driving around, and he was just like dropping it like. It was very. I think Thad and I both had very similar. Like Thad, we were both raised around a lot of white people, and so it was always just like, you're one of the good ones. Like, like, you get it, or it just wasn't even thought of as like. It was something you were like, You don't say this to a person, but it wasn't like today where it's just like, hey, I probably shouldn't say this word.
Yeah, right. I remember in middle school there was Eminem was massive, and it was like to a point that like white guys were dyeing their hair platinum blonde.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I remember there was a very specific group of white guys that like were given a pass to say the N-word, and I remember being like, "There's no fucking way I'm getting that pass."
Even back then, you were like, "No."
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Not with this rouge hair.
And so I ran into one of those guys at a wedding, and he's not doing that anymore, obviously. But
he's the DJ.
Yeah, he was the DJ at the wedding.
But we were we're drinking and stuff, and I saw someone who I hadn't seen since middle school. And I jokingly said to my friend, I was like, man, I haven't seen him since he used to say the N-word. And he was like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
He was
they're hidden files.
He was so mad at me for like reminding him. And I was like, dude, you did it for like 5 years. Like, 5 years. Yeah. I was like, come on. It was like, it's not 5 years. He's like, I got kids now. And I was like, I'm not saying to a microphone now, but I'm not saying his name and shit. Yeah. It's not like I was sitting here. I was like, I got
kids now. We don't talk about what I used to do.
He's like, so he's like, so anyways, that orgy that I was at.
Yeah. But I'm saying it like as I was like, no, you're a dumb 13-year-old that you were like, I don't know, I guess Eminem raps, therefore this, there's just no.
But Eminem didn't even say it.
Yeah. No, he didn't say it. That's kind of the ironic part of it. It was like Eminem doesn't say it.
Having kids never stopped Zach. I mean,
it's only strengthened my love of it.
Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
This week on the After Brunch Podcast.
They celebrate Christmas differently, like Grimace or Crimus, and from where you're from. Krampus. Krampus.
No, you had it right. It was the Christmas Grimace. And Mayor McCheese,
Join us at patreon.com/Harder Brunch.
I was just listening to that episode. If you guys want to listen to a funny episode on the Patreon, go check out Cornfield Bigfoot. I'm Not a Hero. where he talks about having sex with a racist prostitute. All right, and we're back. Hey, you know what I like to listen to these Patreon episodes with?
What is that, then?
I like to listen to it with my Champagne Velvet beer, Upland Brewery. I like to drink beer and listen to podcasts.
Well, your beer's closed. Are you gonna open it and drink it?
Not right now.
No.
I just want them to see what it is.
Will's drinking. We got one dedicated.
I love it. It's great.
Which one you got over there?
I steal your sponsorship here.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was awesome.
Yeah.
You said it with a genuine,
Yeah.
there was no weirdness to it. No, you were trying to read from cue cards. I loved it.
No, because I had it last time I was here, and I was like, I can't remember that because this is a big topic. That I won't be able back in the breweries in Nashville, but I generally since I've moved there, I haven't loved the breweries there. There's a couple that are fine, but I've been like searching for the beer I love in Nashville, and I have yet to find it. And then I had this, the Campside Pale Ale.
Yeah.
From Upland Brewery. And
Campside is the
I've been
go-to.
thinking about it since I saw you. 5 months. I've been thinking about it for 5 months.
Man, you're making me want to have a Campside now. There's something about it. There's like that nice burn.
Of my voice? the Campside.
Of the drink. In the back of your throat.
Outside's watching, like, God damn it.
They are happy right now. This is the best we've gotten in a long
I
time.
like a beer that really makes my throat on fire.
It has like almost its own smokiness. You can imagine just being by a campfire and being at a summer camp, adult summer camp even.
Yeah. Have you ever inhaled smoke? Campside by Upland.
Have you ever been resuscitated by a fire marshal?
Were you ever on one of the first seasons of Survivor and you passed out into the small fire?
Oh, that guy.
That's a callback.
What if you find out he's like, no, I own Upland Brewery.
Yeah.
He probably does.
When I was being brought back to life, I was like, I got a great idea for a beer. And while we're on the subject, I am also drinking our other sponsor, Tinker Coffee. Tinker Coffee, it's the best coffee in the city. I mean, I don't know, hands down. My biggest problem, and I bring it up every week, is whenever I travel, go on the road, I forget to bring some with me, and then I have like normal hotel coffee, and I've been ruined. I've been ruined by having quality coffee in our house, in the studio, all the time. We serve it to the guests. What you guys had earlier today.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
And I've been big into French presses lately. I just got my first French press. And
They're great.
Yeah, I love it. The whole process.
Fun, easy, fast.
I feel like I've had to kind of like explain it to a couple people, almost like it's not like I feel like it kind of has this like bougie kind of like, and I'm like, no, it makes better coffee.
Yeah, it just takes like a couple extra minutes.
Yeah.
But
it's not Keurig.
You're steeping it the same way you would like tea or something.
Right,
Like when you look at a normal like drip coffee machine or whatever, it's just like the water barely has contact with whatever.
But
Yeah.
listen, if you have time, drink Tinker.
You just couldn't stand it, could you? You had to torpedo it.
It's like most coffee you have in the morning, and you're like if you're not late to work,
Your boss doesn't care if you're a couple extra minutes late.
if you're not behind picking up your asshole kids and your ex-wife, take your coffee.
You got nothing else to do today. Have some Tinker.
But if you got plenty to do, go drink something else.
There you go. And coffee gets
Tinker,
you
clear your
excited.
schedule.
Tinker, you're unemployed.
Looking for a job? Drink Tinker.
Not the coffee for you.
The coffee for unemployeds. And coffee makes you excited. Here's a transition. You know what makes me excited?
What's that?
Culinary Crossroads. Popcorn, baby.
Yeah, they're actually the proud sponsor of Meat Cake 2024, which has already happened.
It's already happened, and it was great.
It was wonderful. I was
Man, it was
surprised at what Zach did.
Yeah, I was surprised about that. Did you guys like my performance?
That it was amazing. Amazing. I can't believe
A lot more people than I thought.
it was tasteful that you went all the way nude, but it was still tasteful. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be hugely inappropriate.
I have my ways to do that type of stuff.
But shout out Culinary Crossroads.
I call it the Tucker Carlson.
They're doing big things.
Burn it down. What are you talking about?
Love that guy.
Culinary Crossroads. They're bringing the World Food Champs here 2024 to Indianapolis. Very excited about that. Hopefully, we're gonna have some reps from Team Indy in there. Culinary Crossroads, go check them out. They're doing big things for food in the state of Indiana.
And guys, thank you so much, everybody that participated in the meat cake competition. You guys are all wonderful, and this has literally not happened yet, but we hope you enjoyed.
We're a couple weeks ahead on this episode, so we're just guessing that it was a complete success.
So we've already got the episode recorded and the winner decided.
Yeah.
Now we just have to have meat cakes, right?
Yeah, now all we have to do. It's like the Super Bowl. It's all rigged.
It's all rigged.
Meat cakes is a psyop.
We got Taylor Swift giving the award.
What if that was my line though? Where I'm like, yeah, guys, we can we can toe the line, but when you bring in Taylor Swift, I'm out. I'm not gonna be seen with this.
We can dance around the N-word for half an hour.
That's fine, boys. But I'm no Swiftie.
Yeah, make that the title. Make that title. You know what? Go back. I want that to be the cover page now.
All right, it's time for another one of our sponsors, Smoking Goose Brunch Breakdown. Smoking Goose, located at 407 Dorman Avenue. They make handcrafted charcuterie, fine salamis, all of your cured meats. Nothing says, well, we're past Valentine's Day. Nothing says St. Patrick's Day. Like a nice charcuterie board.
That's
Like a
actually
nice
true.
sausage patty.
There it is. There it is.
And now we're canceled.
Wow. We're doing voices.
Irish
voices, really? Be better.
In this climate. Right in front of him, you do an Irish face.
Yeah, that was wild.
Pushing me here.
I'm sorry about that.
Wow.
He already said danger.
He's like,
He said ding dong.
let's go back to the N-word. But yeah, smoking.
That's where I'm more comfortable. Yeah.
That's like right in my pocket.
So the theme today was, what was it? What do we call it? All the World's a Stage? What?
I said
It's all staged.
It's all staged.
It's all staged. So basically, we were looking through your previous employments listed. So I was like, man, I hope he really did all this stuff and it's not just like an inside joke to something else.
Or just like the worst, where it's just like I'm lying to my friends back home, like, yeah, dude, I'm going to LA for the Oscars, and then like it's
great.
just me hanging out in my parents' basement.
Which is really cool. I want to ask you about each one of these, I guess, as we go through the menu. But yeah, it was enough different stuff that we thought was very interesting, and then we just were like, oh, we could do this, we could do this.
Yeah. I would call them my glory years. So I was like, oh, this is what I want to think about today. Like, the best part of my life.
Well, and I did check out your special.
Oh, thank you.
And at the beginning, you really stuck it to Indianapolis as crushing your dreams. So I was like, man, we really have to deliver like some good news to him.
Oh well, no, but in a full circle way, I'm doing Black Circle tonight. We're doing Black Circle tonight.
Yeah.
And it was there, and it was actually like a great send off in a way. But then it was like the show was very fun because we were all like, this might be the last comedy show of all time. It's like the day before the shutdown, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a moment where I was sitting at the bar with Cliff Cash. I don't know if you guys know Cliff, but very funny comic. But Cliff and I are sitting there, and like we were like, the joke wasn't funny anymore, and we were like, this might be the last comedy show. We don't know when the next one. It was like kind of so. I actually love coming back to Indianapolis because it's like we got back. We got back out there.
Yeah.
You know. So like I hope it doesn't come off as I'm like, I was in fucking Indianapolis.
What was the first joke?
The joke is like the true story is I was on my first nationwide comedy tour, and had all these things lined up and everything, and I got all the way. I went from New York to LA, and I finished that leg of it, and I was on the return trip, and I actually was booked through May, so this tour was just like not stopping. And it was so cool. And then I was in Indianapolis, and I think it was like 2 days prior where my dad called me. He's like, hey, I think you got to get off the road. And I did St. Louis, and there were 2 people in the audience, and I was like, oh, this is, like, I got to get off the fucking road.
Yeah.
And so I canceled everything else, but like, I had to stop in Indianapolis anyway, and we also like just didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Were the 2 people wearing red hats by any chance? Just curious.
They were not. She still follows me on Facebook. She's one of the most interesting human beings of all time.
Awesome.
Like, she would jump on Zoom shows, and I'd be like, what have you been up to? And she's like, I'm camping right now. I've been doing mushrooms for 3 days. Like, I was like, what? Like, oh, you fucking rule. I was like, how do you have Wi-Fi? Why are you watching this?
So our first course was based on you worked or helped work on the 86 Oscars.
Yeah.
Academy Awards, I guess they're called.
Yeah. So So I did the Oscars twice. And the first one was with Ellen when she was the host, and that was like with that picture where like they did the selfie. Or whatever, the selfie.
You took the selfie.
I did not.
You were there.
So I was just joking about this. Is like I don't. You have to sign so many NDAs. And I'm like getting to a point where I'm getting old enough where I'm like, I'm pretty sure these NDAs are starting to expire. And like nothing happened on that show that I couldn't talk about that like was like this person sucked.
Yeah.
But that particular one I liked more than the second one I worked on, because the second one it was like a job. You know what I mean? Like I knew how, like I was like, it was like I showed up and this was like part of the rotation of freelancing, right? Mm-hmm. But the first one was so special because of like what had to happen to lead me to get there. And like I was like, you know, I was doing comedy, which was actually going fine in New York in hindsight. I just didn't know because I was 23 and didn't have anyone telling me, hey, this is actually going really well. I just didn't know. But I was like I was a busboy at a restaurant for rich people, and they were awful. And I happened to run into a friend in line at a bar that we didn't get into, and she was working for Colbert, and I gave her my production resume. She got a call from NBC. They asked for new PAs. I got hired on The Sound of Music. Just crushed that job. Like, I don't know, just did a great job. And then the director took me out to the Oscars. And so he promoted me from PA to rehearsal coordinator, which is my made-up job, but it was our made-up job. Yeah. And so we get out to LA, and they pay me more money than I ever had at that point in my life. And they hand my per diem, and I'm like going back to my friend's place I was crashing with, and I get a call, and they're like, hey, they're canceling the segment. Ellen doesn't want to do an opening dance number. Because they're there to basically like coordinate the dance numbers that happen in between and stuff. And I was like, am I flying home? Like, do I have to fly home now? And my director fought for me, and they put me in the production team, and I was a PA. And I have a New York work ethic, and the LA PAs work differently. Like
worse, better or worse?
Everyone does a good job. And those guys now, like a lot of them are production managers, and I've worked with them, and the work ethic changes. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
like,
I know you don't want to burn it down.
Being nice.
No. Like there was like I remember this one PA who I was working with. Like I highly doubt he does this job anymore.
Okay, yeah.
But he and I were tasked with like tearing tickets and piling them together.
Sure.
And the guy was like, yeah, I've been doing this for days. And I finished mine in like 4 hours, and he was like still working. And like I went to the coordinator. He's like, this was supposed to be your job for like 3 days.
Oh wow.
And I was like, oh okay. And he was like, okay, well here's another task. And then they heard
Wait,
about.
so are they happy that you got done fast? Or
very
like,
happy. Oh yeah, the coordinators are like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, this is why you got promoted.
Yeah, and so and the coordinator told me, he's like, dude, I was pretty pissed taking you on because you're like kind of a must hire, and like your segment fell through, you should be going home. But like now that I see how hard you're working, like I'm happy to have you. So then
That's cool.
The stuff I did at Sound of Music, just in terms of like what my role was, they put me into the talent department. They put me into the talent department, and so I got to work with them. And so I'm working with the talent department at the Academy Awards. And so like, I mean, there's so many cool things that like one of my jobs was literally stand in the garage and escort the guys to go to rehearsals. And like I got pinned in between Channing Tatum and Emma Watson. Like Emma Watson, I was passing behind Emma Watson, and she tripped and she started falling back, and she was like in her dress. Oh, this wasn't rehearsal. This was like the live thing. But
yeah,
she tripped. She's falling backwards, and I instinctively you would probably like try and grab someone, but it's Emma Watson. So
yeah.
I'm like doing like this, like right behind her. Yeah, just like making
Catch
sure.
your aura.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like my hands are here. Like if she falls, I'm here, but like I'm not gonna touch her until she falls.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Channing Tatum's going behind me, and he's just like, "What the hell's this guy doing?" So like we're all like just leaning back together. And then she like pops herself back up and like just walked away, and I was just like, she has no idea that she just had a 3-way with me and Channing Tatum, you know? But the coolest one was I'd never seen Bill Murray. He had been eluding me in New York forever, right? And like I missed him at Letterman when I was working there, like missed him at all these other jobs, and they were like, the talent department knew how much I love Bill Murray, and they're like, hey, you need to escort Bill Murray up for rehearsals, and I was like, and this is right after Harold Ramis died. So it was like a big deal that he was there because they had a falling out, never reconciled, and his best friend's dead, right? And I go down to the garage to like pick him up, and there's security, and this is tight security, you know, it's the Oscars. And he's not there. And so I call talent, and I'm like, he's not here. And they call him, he's like, no, I'm here. Like, I'm telling you, I'm in the garage. And they're like, did you park where we told you to park? He's like, nope, got dropped off just like you guys said. And I'm like, we're looking around, we're like, he's not here. And there's these stairs that like you can't get to. There's no way to get there unless like You have to go through like 3 barriers and like levels and levels and levels of security to get to the top of these stairs, unless you come in this one exact way. And then we just hear Bill Murray go, "Guys, I'm right here," and he's at the top of the stairs. And the security guy's like, "How'd you get there?" He was like, "That guy just let me in outside." And they're telling the security guy, they're like, "You can't let him in." He's like, "But it's Bill fucking Murray."
Yeah.
So Bill Murray just walked through all those barriers and everything.
Do that.
And he's standing there wearing like cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and a bucket hat. And I was like, fucking Bill Murray.
I bet Bill Murray probably could rob a bank like he did in Groundhog Day. Like he could just walk
100%.
in, but everyone would just open the doors for him. Like, come on in.
Man.
They'd assume it was something, or just like, he's supposed to be
He's
here.
supposed to be taking those bags of money out.
Yeah, they're filming something.
I heard he's like one of the coolest people to party with.
Oh, I mean, he's like notorious for it, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't get to walk him in then because he was already at the top, and someone else was like, "You know where you're going?" He's like, "Yeah, it's the Oscars. I know where I'm going," and he just walked away.
Yes, the Oscars. I know where I'm going. What a
So
baller
you
line.
just got yelled at by Bill Murray.
Yeah. I was still like,
That's still great.
Yeah.
so the end of that is like, so I'm working with the talent department. We're doing stuff like that. We're having a great time, and the show goes live, and my coordinator, she was like, "All right, well, your job's done." And I was like, "So what do I do now?" She's like, "You have a backstage pass. You do whatever you want."
You do whatever you
So I got to go backstage, and I was, because I worked in the rehearsals in the main stage as well. God, man, that was such a cool show. Now that I'm thinking about all these other things. But I'm standing backstage, and I was like, okay, that's the only bathroom, and that's where everyone leaves after they get their Oscar. I'm going to stand right here.
At the bathroom?
Like just to the left of the bathroom, and like just for where they were exiting. And I saw everyone. I saw like so many cool, like some of these were like iconic moments that we see in photos because I'm next to like the press too. And it was just like the coolest 3 hours of my life.
Wow.
I like made Chris Evans blush. Like it was just like,
Well, you made him blush.
well, Bill Murray was on stage doing his speech for like best director, and he like, he added in Harold Ramis. So he was like, best director, blah, 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 and then he just said Harold Ramis, and everyone went crazy. And I just went, man, Bill Murray's the fucking man. And I didn't know who was to my left. And I look, and it's fucking Captain America. And he just was like, he just like get the fuck away from me, dude. But it was very cool. And then like we got the party all night, and like it was really an incredible experience, especially given that like 5 months prior I was like a busboy. And so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
From rags to riches.
Sort of.
And then back to Terre Haute. Fort Wayne, sorry.
You wasted all your wishes, boy.
I think about that every day, so thank you.
A true Aladdin experience.
So my sister went to school for like theater and history, and she worked for a long time at like one of the local like Conner Prairie where you could actually do theater, like history acting. But her big moment of fame, and I think about this often, was that she went viral as a meme, as an Amish meme, and she got shared by like Ellen and all that kind of stuff. And then like she would get recognized like in restaurants and stuff as the meme girl. And I was like, yeah, all of this work you put in to be an actress or whatever, and then you're gonna be a meme.
Oh God,
You used up all your fame on this.
it's like what a mixed emotion of like, well, because like, I don't know. I've always respected people that aspire for success as opposed to fame. Because if you are successful in like a creative field, the fame will follow, right? But then if it's like that, you're like, that's not what I meant.
Well, yeah. It wasn't even like she didn't even like somebody else took the picture of her, right? So she doesn't get any credit for it
she's
at
like
all.
not tagged.
I just want to be famous enough to move tickets. That's all I want the fame for. Like, but let's get through the menu real quick. So the first thing for the Oscars.
So I did an Oscars Benedict. Oscar style steak is where you take hollandaise, mix it with like lump crab, and then asparagus. So I just put that over poached egg and English muffin, and
It was good.
It's delicious.
Great.
Yeah.
We also found out like after we had served it, we were back there, we were mixing stuff from different courses, and I think we want to do an Oscar style poutine. I want to like just like fries with hollandaise and crab on it.
Doggone it.
yeah, this is like what we should have served you. Is what we're going to tell you about now.
Think about that. Think about what you could have had. And then for the second course was the
Tenderloin.
Was the top tenderloin because you worked on the David Letterman show. David Letterman, famously from Indiana, went to Ball State. I spent probably way too long thinking about how to make something in a ball jar, and I was like, I could do like a parfait or like this and that. And I was just like, and then I was like, oh no, top tenderloin, that's it.
It's funny like that. Like it's like of all the things Letterman's done, Yeah, like you're like focused on Ball State.
Yeah. Ball jar, Ball State. That's where he went. Yeah, it was getting way off the rails.
My favorite was an episode where I wasn't even here, and like him and a guest were supposed to be doing like revolutionary black people, and he like I could talk about like two different thoughts. Like she brought all like like revolutionary style, and then he brought all black characters from the revolutionary period of America, like the Revolutionary War, which was so niche and so weird.
Yeah, then she showed up with like an afro.
You've got a musket.
Yeah. Oh,
Wait, can I just say that tenderloin was the best tenderloin I've ever had?
Oh, well, yeah.
One,
Say it directly into this microphone.
say it louder.
can I lie real quick? It was really good. It was really good. It was small. It was a lot smaller than I'm used to being a Hoosier, which it was a slider. It was
a
supposed
slider,
to be.
yeah.
I know it's supposed to be, but like tenderloins are obnoxious.
Yeah, which
They
is
don't need to
funny
be that big.
because it would still be much larger than a bun, a regular sized bun would be. But you're right, it was like a giant slider sized tenderloin.
Yeah, and it was soft. Like I'm used to tenderloins being hard.
Yeah, and those fries. I know that was just like the side, but the fries were.
You always kill the fries.
Excellent.
He always kills the
Excellent.
fries.
Yeah.
Master class on fries. Will did not like them.
No.
That's not true. I
You
just
hate the fries?
He's so red, he didn't like them.
no. I'm just full. Like I had like I don't eat.
I ate the rest of your fries. Actually, I was like, "Is he not going to eat that?" I went in the kitchen and
Well, I had the Benedict, and I was like, that's about how much I eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then you dropped the tenderloin in front of me, and I was like,
I'm like, oh yeah, we got 2 more courses.
but here's the thing: you've been here before.
Yeah,
I know,
that's
and I
it.
didn't eat that much then either because I was like trying to eat all. And I was like,
okay.
but I just don't
It's
eat that.
a cartoonish amount of food. Like,
It
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
it's Harder Brunch for a
I don't
reason.
like that.
I've never.
You don't like that you eat a cartoonish
cleaned up
amount
the,
of food?
Every week, like the things are starting to make sense.
It was fried perfectly too.
It was.
so nice and crispy.
The oil was not too brown.
That's a good thing.
Oh, you guys, that's a good thing. Cancel. No, because like if the oil's like if you use old oil, like
Yeah.
it gets dark,
Listen,
right?
we know you're sensitive about the oil. We've gone over this
ever-
many
has
times.
this ever
No
come
one
up
wants to
before?
back me up. Okay, never mind. It
Yeah,
was.
no, I
No,
mean,
you're right, yeah.
you're right.
Old-
You're right.
old
It
oil
wasn't. It
is-
wasn't fried in terrible oil.
Yeah.
That is true. It
You
was
always
delicious.
change the oil?
He didn't use bad meat either, or rotten eggs.
Well, I just remember how
That's why
much
I
of a
didn't-
stink.
That's what's so key.
Sorry, I thought that'd be a good compliment because I remember how much of a stink you guys made when we went to a restaurant and the oil they used old oil and you could tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same thing if they brought rotten meat out, and that's not like, hey, the meat you brought us wasn't rotten today.
Wait,
that's
it's
not a
equivalent
compliment
to rotten meat?
I mean, it's bad.
Yeah. It's not great.
Yeah,
dairy.
it's a bad look if you've got
How
burnt
often-
oil at your restaurant.
How often do you have to change it out?
It depends on how much you're using, like what you're frying. Are you just frying fries, or are you doing like floury things like
Yeah.
chicken?
Yeah.
Because like some places will do it daily. Some places maybe weekly. Really shitty bars maybe once a month.
I worked at Logan's Roadhouse, and they didn't do it that often.
See, I wish there was like a color palette of
Everything
what it should look like.
starts tasting the same, and then everything starts tasting very bad.
It's almost if it has color, it should be changed out.
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like how brown it was. It was a little bit more browner than I like. Just kidding. I don't
Wait,
know.
the tender.
What about a chain like Five Guys or something? That's just like
Oh, they're every night.
Yeah, every night.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they may filter it. There is sometimes places where you can filter it through once and reuse it or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're hitting it hard like that, then you're definitely you should be.
Yeah.
We got really into fry maintenance here.
Well, it should be gold, is what the computer's saying.
believe the computers.
real quick, tell us about working on the David Letterman show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Instead of fry oil.
well, he actually he's a big. He would agree with you. No, so that was it was called the Page Program, and basically we worked in the audience department for a year, and you have a 9-month contract, and if they like you, they say you can stay for 3 more months while you try and find a job. Sometimes there's opportunities to get hired at Letterman. By the time I was there, they were on like the last 3 years of the show. My friend Jenny did get hired, but it was slim pickings to get the job. So they kind of gave that 3-month grace period to be like, hey, we're not just going to throw you out in the streets. You can like use this and try and find a job. So we did ticketing, and like you would basically rotate jobs, but we would have to go to Times Square and give away tickets. And there's some weird thing that we couldn't just give away free tickets. We had to you had to win them. So we had to ask you trivia questions.
Oh, okay.
And if the couple was like fantastic, good energy, wasn't gonna bring a gun, you know, like I would just like my go-to was always like, who was the first guest on Letterman? And if they didn't know, I'd be like, it rhymes with Jill Murray, you know, like stuff like that. But then you get to also work in the actual theater.
Yeah.
And you would kind of like oversee the audience and try and get their energy up and that kind of stuff. But then just get to watch the show. And so that was like his last 3 years were so good because he kind of got the fire back. You know?
Oh, really? Because he knew he was going.
Yeah, and like it was one of those like it's a video worth watching on YouTube where he tricks Trump because Trump hadn't been on the show in 3 years, and he was supposed to come on, and then they just shit on him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner like that Monday.
Yeah.
And then Seth Meyers came on the show on Tuesday, and then just him and Dave just sat there dumping on him again. And he calls and he's like, I'm not coming in anymore. And Letterman calls him personally and says, how bad is it going to be for you if you don't show up? And he was like, all right. And so he goes, and at this time he was blackmailing Obama to like show his birth certificate, I think.
Yeah.
And
Did we ever see that though?
That's a good question. I like the question.
Brandon's like, I got one goal, and that is Mr. Will never works again.
Is this why your shows weren't going good?
I think I get it now.
No one was laughing, he said.
I opened with that.
Open with that, yeah.
Miamisburg, let me just ask real quick. Have you ever seen Obama's
Actually,
birth certificate?
Miamisburg would love that.
Yeah. They're rubbing in! But he brings them on, and it's like it's all on YouTube. But he brings them on, and Dave just kind of says a passing comment, like, well, I'd like to think that the president of the United States of America is above blackmail. And you see Trump kind of like, oh yeah, when you put it that way, yeah, that sounds right. Because he was offering to like give money to his biggest charity or something. So we go to commercial break. It's still going kind of like light, right?
Yeah.
And then they come back from commercial break, and Dave does something like, man, so people were saying you weren't going to come on the show. And he was like, oh, yeah, but Dave, you know I'm going to be on the show. And he was like, yeah, that's what I said. I said, we're good friends. He goes, I love coming to the show. We're great friends. So they start talking about how, like, there's too many companies outsourcing to China, right? It's a classic Trump rant, pre-presidency.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And so he's going on, and Dave's got all these ties and shirts on his desk. And he's like, so we're going to talk about your new line at Macy's. He goes, oh, yeah, we got these beautiful ties. And Dave's like, beautiful ties. And he flips it over and it says, made in China. And you even see on Trump's face, he's like, fucking Letterman, got me again. So it was like, really?
Damn.
Yeah, so I saw that. And then, like, Conan, his first time back since leaving the Tonight Show.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, I don't want to talk about the Tonight Show. And, like, he sits down and Letterman's like, so we got a common enemy. Wow,
that's an iconic time.
Yeah, and like it was Robin Williams like a year before, maybe 6 months before he died, and like he was a hero of mine. So seeing him was just amazing. Like Steve Martin came on, played his banjo, and you'd see some like. So the cool thing was they would do they would tape the late night sets on Thursday. We do 2 shows on Thursday. There is no Friday show, so the second show is the Friday show, and that one was always the late night comedy taping. So you'd also get to see I don't remember any comedians off the top of my head. Like it was usually repeats at that point. There wasn't anyone making their debuts, but it was still kind of like as a comedian, you're like, oh, this is sort of cool.
Yeah.
But usually, the reason I don't remember is usually that's when they fed us, and they just fed us like somehow the shittiest pizza in New York. I don't know how. It exists.
Yeah.
It would make all of us sick afterwards, but we were broke, so we ate it every Thursday.
Was it oily?
It was not oily. It was not oily. It was dry. It was always very dry.
Doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
Two
pretty.
Brothers
it was
is
pretty
good pizza in New York, by the way.
I would get Two Brothers. Like,
That's my favorite. It's cheap
Yeah.
and it's good.
We would get out of work. We'd go get drunk at Three Monkeys, and then we go to Two Brothers. We get our 2 slices for $1.
Sounds like a lot of slurs in those 2 bars.
But is most of the pizza good in New York?
These are
like,
Italian brothers.
like pizza's such a trope there.
I'll say because that was within my first year there. I was working on this. That pizza on those Thursdays was so bad. I don't eat a lot of pizza now. Like
so New York killed your love
like
of pizza.
Yeah.
That's
like,
wild.
Like I still eat pizza and like I can acknowledge when it's good, but I don't like seek it out really. I'm not like, oh, it's just a pizza tonight. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next time you come out, we're gonna
Making pizza?
Yeah, we'll
Bring it
make you an
back.
oily
Yeah.
pie.
No, we'll bring it back. We're
You
gonna.
fly in, you find out what the shitty pizza is. You fly in, I'm like, man, this show's falling off.
Thank you, Upland, for flying this pizza out.
Costs like $300.
Real quick, I know we're going over a little bit, but like, I really want to know: was there a buffer for David Letterman?
What? In what?
Like for the audience, like was there like a comedian that would get them?
Oh
up?
yeah, Eddie Brill. Eddie Brill was also the booker, so he was the opening comic and he was the opening. He was opening comic, sorry, and the booker as well.
Oh wow.
And yeah, Eddie. Oh, dude, Eddie's story. I've known Eddie for years, and his stories about because he was back at the Comedy Store in like those days. Like when like he has like one of those like iconic stories of like I just went out to LA, wanted to be a comedian. I like lived at Mitzi's house, like that. I mean,
Lived at Mitzi's house.
yeah, she had like an apartment that like she would let comics have if they couldn't find a place to stay.
That's
and
amazing.
like he's just got all these incredible stories. And like, you know, he told us one story about Sam Kinison, like having a set so good that Sam Kinison wanted to see him. Like, because I guess that was like Mitzi would pass you, but Kinison had to pass you in a way.
Oh.
And he said he went through this door and then went through another door and he gets into the room and Kinison's just sitting there like shirtless with just this pile of cocaine. And he just was like, "You're great." Yeah, like, Eddie's got some stories.
That's
yeah.
the like biggest compliment right there.
Oh my god! I mean, yeah, and then yeah, no, and he was the opener for.
He stopped doing cocaine to compliment you.
Yes, no, he probably was still doing it.
How many people watched the live show or that were there for it?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to.
80, 100?
Oh no! I wouldn't say. How much would that? I mean, it's a theater, and I if I remember correctly, I think the Ed Sullivan Theater is the biggest one they do late night in. I
wow.
think.
I was just thinking of like a small.
No. Like
Wow.
most of them are small, but I would say this one's got to be 500 people, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Maybe less than that, but that'd be worth looking up. I don't actually remember off the top of my head. Yeah.
Then you were also in. You worked on Macbeth.
Yeah, I worked on Macbeth. So that's the only theater play. It's the only play I worked on. But yeah, that was a cool one because my director assumed because I could coordinate live TV that I could just be an assistant stage manager. And they are very different jobs. They're very similar, but they're very different in that coordinating. But both jobs, you're working with the actors very closely. But as a coordinator, I have PAs that go and like if an actor's like, "Hey, I want a soda." Usually they have an assistant. I don't have to worry about that. I just have to have it on set, right?
Yeah.
And so when I got out there, the actors would come up to me like, "Hey, can you get me a tea?" And I would like laugh at them, and be like, "Go get your own fucking tea."
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a week in where I was getting a bad reputation of being like, "This fucking guy won't do anything for us." And my good friend now, this guy Patrick, was a young actor on it, and he pulls me aside. He's like, "Hey man, what was your job before this?" And he's Scottish, so he said that with
His accent.
his accent. Yeah, just want to make sure.
Try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can do it.
Yeah. You can do
You
it.
should do it.
I don't know if I can do.
I might.
Yeah, like
That
that.
is so far off.
What was your job before this?
That's it. That's dead on.
Anyway.
That's it. That's a good one.
Thank you.
But he was like, "What's your job before this?" And I think it was the Oscars. I think it was the first one of the Oscars. So I was like, "Oh, it was the Oscars." And he was like, "What did you do on that?" I told him. He's like, "Okay, so do you know what an assistant stage manager is?" I was like, "No." He's like, "You do whatever we ask you to do." And I was like, "I've been telling people no all week." He's like, "Yeah, I'm telling you this because we tell you no."
You were known as the guy.
You're a real problem.
And it was like, well, and it was just like, it was funny because all the actors were British except for 2. And so they did the math, and they're like, it's actually cheaper for us to fly these 5 Americans out to do the rehearsals to England, and then we'll fly everyone back, and we'll save money that way. So I got flown out to England and got to work in in London for 3 weeks. And so it's like, my director had me flown out, and like they're like, this guy fucking sucks. I hate this guy.
That is awesome.
Yeah, but it was a very cool experience. That summer, we were like one of the hottest shows in New York, which was like a crazy thing. Tickets were it was just so much fun. Yeah, and it was a very cool setup in that the way they built the theater is the center was actual mud, and they like rigged like rain to come down, so like the sword fights were like in the rain.
Oh, wow.
And like one of my jobs was to like be in the wings, and they would like run off, and I'd have to like hand them a shield and hand them a sword, and then I'd have to sharpen the swords. So I felt like a squire, which was pretty fun. But yeah, it was
Squire
very
that
cool.
will not go get your Dyke for you.
Here's the tea. He
Nay,
won't get
sir.
tea.
I'm sorry, Will. Don't you?
Was there an apology afterwards, though? Like, hey, guys, sorry I didn't get your tea.
It started circulating, being like Like it started with Patrick and like kind of being like, hey, Will just hasn't worked in theater before, and they were like, well, okay, then why is he here? And they're like, and I ended up getting
He's good at what he does.
Yeah, I ended up getting pretty good at the job, and I just knew what the job was, you know. But yeah, it was fun, and there was like a good group of young actors that I got to be pretty good friends with, and so when they came to New York, we got to like pal around and like run around, and I got to show them like all the cool bars I was going to at the time and all that stuff, and like we had one night where Kenneth Branagh was Macbeth, and he paid for all of us to go to this whiskey bar, like a high-end whiskey bar.
Yeah.
That had like a bunch of scotch, and I think it was all scotch. I think it was an all scotch bar, and I didn't drink scotch, and I was also young enough that I didn't know like how the menu worked. So I thought I was drinking scotch based on the price. So when the higher the number, I was like, well, I'm not going to ever get this again. But it was the year. So I had to have spent $500 on scotch that night. Like, but like the thing was like, they didn't put our name on a tab. They like lumped everyone together because they was all on their tab. But I swear I must have been a quarter of that tab.
Oh, you were like, give me the 15, I guess.
So the guy that doesn't want to get tea basically cost us $2,000.
Kenneth Branagh's just like looking at Rob like, dude, who? Don't ever bring this guy around again.
So your only stage performance?
And then the last one was Peter Pan.
And Peter Pan, yeah, that was right. So it was Sound of Music, then it was Oscars, then it was Macbeth, and then I went back for Peter Pan. And read the reviews.
Okay.
Read the reviews. It was a rough one. It was very fun to work on. I'm still very good friends with a lot of the actors. But Christopher Walken was Captain Hook.
Oh, wow.
And it was very cool working with him because it's Christopher Walken.
I want to get Pan.
Yeah. Wow, Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
Flying around. Pissing me off. Slow it down. You know, whatever. And what sucked. So we got. I mean, the live show got shit on. But so did Sound of Music, to be honest. But we also still won Emmys. So it was one of these things where like, well, whatever.
Well, you got shit on and it won an Emmy?
Because of the production quality of it. Like what we did, no one's done before. So
well, you were the production assistant,
and I was production assistant, but. My buddy Adam, he got a unofficial like so the camera team won an Emmy, and they can hand out five certificates that say you also won the Emmy, and I wasn't close to the camera team, so I didn't get one of those, and I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. But Peter Pan, like, yeah, we got dumped on pretty hard, but well,
it's because they used all old men for the Lost Boys, right? They rented out a retirement home. That's what I read.
No.
They were really lost.
They were really like they all had Alzheimer's
voice. Yeah.
They were Lost Boys.
Who was Peter?
My marbles.
Who was Peter Pan?
You remember Wendy?
Oh yeah. So Peter Pan was Allison Summers.
Oh, wow.
And honestly,
Allison
like
Summers.
because of how much backlash Carrie got for Sound of Music, like we were like there were people that like I wish I could tell you the names. I actually can't tell you the names of people that were like, I want to be Captain Hook. So I was standing there actually at the Oscars, and this one actor came up to the executive producer of the Oscars. Was the same executive producer for Sound of Music and Peter Pan at that time. So I also had a relationship with him. And I'm standing next to him just catching up, and then this actor walks up. He's like, "Hey, I want to play Captain Hook." And like he looks at me like when he walked away, he's like, "You heard that too, right?" And I was like, "This is gonna be the best fucking show ever." But then agents start getting involved. They're like, "Look, this is what happened. Like, you don't want to fucking deal with this shit." And also timing, like it's an 8-week commitment. Like it's hard. But so for Christopher Walken, and honestly, in rehearsals, he was so funny and so good, and he had like tap dance, do all this stuff.
Wow.
But he's been acting since he was 6, so he's been in Hollywood for almost a century. You know, I mean, it's crazy what he's seen.
He knew Brando, right?
I mean, he had to have. Yeah, like there's no way he didn't know Brando. And so the first day, they come up to me and they're like, "Hey, Will, Walken loves pretzels. So just like introduce yourself, give him some pretzels, and we'll just make him like, you know, that's just one of the weird things of the job, right?" And so I come up and I'm like, "Hi, Mr. Walken, I'm Will. We heard you like pretzels, so I got these for you." And he was like, "Wow, hide these precious goods," you know? Yeah.
That's awesome. Like he played it up too.
And so a couple weeks go by, and I'm not in the room. I'm doing something else, but we all have walkies on, and I just hear, "Can someone find the boy in the plaid shirt?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I gotta know what's happening. You know what I mean? So like I'm walking back on set. I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, Christopher Walken keeps asking for the boy in the plaid shirt with the pretzels." And I was like, "Oh, that's me." I'm the pretzel. And I come up and he asked me something random, and I was just like, "Oh," I was like, "You know, you can ask anyone." He's like, "Yeah, but you got the pretzels."
What? That's wild.
That's wild.
I love that.
It was so
What he asked
funny.
you?
Would you like that,
No.
Dyke, if you were like a celebrity and everybody knew your favorite food? Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is
Fried chicken.
that's an easy question. Yes, it'd be
great.
Well, I mean, because mine would be cobbler. I'd be like, wow. I'd just be like, hide the cobbler. Where's the cobbler boy?
It would sound a little different though if Rachel Walken was saying that. Like, where's the gobbler boy? And you come walking up and you're like,
Real quick, what'd you do for that Peter Pan dessert?
Oh, so I made I called it a Captain Hook's coconut rum booty hole cake. It was a bundt cake, so it had a big hole in the middle, and I
Like a
soaked
booty.
it. Yeah, like a booty. Well, no, it was a booty because it had all the gold
The
on
treasure.
it.
Oh,
Yeah, the treasure.
The booty hole.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then it had a hole in the cake.
that's my fault. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
you wouldn't
rude.
even think that.
No.
I did. I mean,
Yeah, but no, it was full of rum, and yeah.
Almost caused Hannah to relapse.
Almost, I almost threw it on the ground. That was kind of crazy. I don't think
Yeah, what did she say? The one drop of rum in the air.
I almost dropped it right in her mouth.
Well, I was like you could have, sometimes they like something's cooked with alcohol and it's like cooked off,
Yeah,
and then
not
sometimes
that
it's
one,
And so I was like,
Just in case.
I was like, this alcohol cooked off. He was like, not even kind of. He's
Like,
like,
I let the syrup cool down before I poured the alcohol in
Yeah.
because I didn't want any to boil off.
I've got drunk off of like one time, all I had for breakfast was rum balls, and like
How many did you eat?
I mean, like three or four
Dozen.
But like, yeah. but that's all I ate, and then I was also drinking.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, I had breakfast, like I'm good, and then I'm like, I ate alcohol for breakfast.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no,
And I was just chasing with rum, so that's really caught up with me.
And then I fell asleep by the end of the podcast. Like it was like the next day, and I was like, I don't remember the guests leaving.
That was
And then I
pirate
like,
brunch.
I was like, wait a second, I don't remember the end of the podcast. So,
my God.
yeah, you fell asleep.
Oh my god! Well, so one of these pirates actually is in Marvel now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in like the Guardian of the Galaxies. Actually, he's Sully.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's Sully on This Is Us.
looks so weird.
He like blew up on This Is Us, and he was supposed to be like a
Oh.
minor character, and they ended up being like a guy they kept around for 3 years. And then he got ripped in the third season to do Marvel, and then they had to like make that a part of the story arc. It was like the same thing with Chris Pratt
Yeah.
in Parks and Rec. Like
Yeah.
they got ripped from Marvel, and they were like, well, how do we work on this one?
Yeah, that's stuff like because it was like you lost a lot of weight. He's like, yeah, I quit drinking beer. He's like, how many beers were you drinking? Can you drop a beat for me there, Sauce Boss? Sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off.
No, it's not even going to be worth it. I was going to just talk about Wendy. I was trying to work on a short like film, like a 4 documentary series where like Wendy's meeting with her therapist and like she's getting too old to go back to Neverland, and like they're just going through, if she should go back or not. And it wasn't worth stopping the plug music.
I like the girl that played Wendy. I had the biggest crush on, but during that show, I started dating my ex-girlfriend, and it ended up being a pretty serious relationship. But I started dating her, and I never brought her up on set. And the last day, like my ex and I got in a fight, like about to go live, and I'm talking to the person that played Wendy, and I was like, God, my ex just said this, or I was like, my girlfriend just said this, and she goes, I'm just gonna call us that, Will. That's the first time I've ever heard you mention your girlfriend. And I was like,
She liked you.
No. I think she was calling me out for being like, I never bringing her up around her because I had such a crush on Wendy that I was like, well, she can't let her know just in case there's a chance,
Yeah.
And then then I met her boyfriend, and I was like, I did not have a chance. I was like, I didn't have a chance.
We're not
he
even
was
playing. We're not playing the same game.
He was black.
Huh?
Was he black?
No.
I wish he was black for just joke purposes.
No, he looked like he looked like he dated a Broadway actress, like with like that perfect coiffed hair. And he spoke
nice.
super eloquently, and you were like, I hate you so much.
Well, we always do this at the end of the show. You're a good-looking guy. You could date anybody you want, any
thanks.
celebrity.
Yeah, you have our permission.
You have our permission. You have the Harder Brunch Punch.
Yeah.
What? The Harder Brunch Punch?
Yeah.
What's that?
Meaning you could date celebrities.
Oh.
We've always done this. Don't act like this is the first time. You're being stupid
Hit
right
that
now.
goddamn button. Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being on the program today.
course,
This
thanks
was
for having
really fun. Go ahead and plug it up. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Will Abeles Comedy, and my special, The Pride of Hagerstown, is out now on YouTube, on 4x3's YouTube, And yeah, we're Brandon and I are touring a lot, so just follow us on Instagram. And yeah, Brandon.
You can find me at the Brando Commando on Instagram. And then, yeah, I did a 4x3 put it on tape that should be coming out soon. So be on the lookout.
Thaddaeus Jake.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You can find me at Thad Mckee. That's Thad Mckee Instagram, Twitter, Threads, X, and that's all.
Zach Roan.
Actually, you can find me in a new special. I'll be playing Wendy in Thad's new production of Wendy's Forgotten.
Man, I didn't think it could get any worse, but you sure took it there. Remember Thad's thing that bombed? I'm going to make it stink worse. I was like, Danger Brewer?
Yeah, well, it's a very dangerous plug. I mean, we tried to make a movie, but, you know, we can look for the behind-the-scenes movie of the Epstein Island version of Peter Pan. You can also find me on Danger Brewer at Instagram.
Yeah, that was the worst one.
Wait, no, I can pile on something else.
No. All right.
Where's that birth certificate, Obama?
Find it. Find it.
You can find me at gobacktoKenya.com or find me on X at Ding Dong Ditch Comic. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.